Get hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Joni Rampolla, one of the registered licensed dietitians with your Giant and Martins. And today in our class Produce Spotlight, we are talking about Brussels sprouts. And this month, all of our produce spotlights are sheet pans. So I am doing a recipe that's a sheet pan recipe and using Brussels sprouts. All right, so just want to give a little shout out to the Brussels sprout. They are that nutrition powerhouse. They're high in vitamin C, vitamin K, where we know we need calcium and vitamin D for bone health, but vitamin K is also pretty up there for your bone health. And folate. They are rich in fiber, so they support your digestion, elimination, and help keep you fuller longer. They contain antioxidants that may help you reduce inflammation and support heart health. And the whole family of vegetables, they're part of the family with cabbage and broccoli. The whole family can have that reputation for, they're studied for their potential in lowering your cancer risk, for supporting or preventing cancer. So cooking and flavor. All right, we may not want that bitter flavor, but Brussels sprouts don't have to be bitter anymore once you roast them like we are doing. What makes them bitter is overcooking them or boiling them. It can release that sulfur compound that can cause that bitterness. But roasting instead brings out the best side of them, a little bit of sweetness. Not that they ever turn sweet, but a little bit of sweetness. And roasting them gives them that crispy factor. So the high heat caramelizes the outside. So if there is natural sugar in that Brussels sprout, it gives it that nutty, slightly sweet flavor. Brussels sprouts are very versatile. They are great roasted, and that is my favorite way to eat them, which we're doing today. But you can also saute them, or even when they're raw, shave them into little strips and add them to a salad or a stir fry. So great things to do and different ways to eat Brussels sprouts. I actually like them where I hated them as a kid. I don't know if you're that way too, but once you've tried them roasted, you haven't tasted Brussels sprout until you try them roasted. Most people enjoy them. So let's talk about making something on a sheet pan, whether it's Brussels sprouts or something else. It's kind of like effortless cooking. So you toss them in whatever kind of olive oil or something to coat them. You spread them out on your pan and then you stick them in the oven and roast them. Like sometimes if it was just plain Brussels sprouts, it wasn't a recipe, I'd put them on the pan. I might add my chicken breast, my potatoes, and it's just like a one pan meal, which I find easy and fun. You can add in, it's really nice to add in with Brussels sprouts something sweet to, balance the flavors. So that could be a sweet potato, a carrot, or an apple. All those add sweetness and give it a little fall twist. So we are adding apples to our Brussels sprouts today. And then there are flavor boosters. So some of my favorites are garlic, balsamic glaze, feta, parmesan, any kind of nut or dried cranberries. They all elevate that taste. Every Thanksgiving, I will say you can find on my table, I roast Brussels sprouts, just like we're doing on a sheet pan. I roast them. When they come out of the pan, I add a balsamic glaze. And what that is balsamic vinegar mixed with honey, if you want to make it yourself. Or you can buy balsamic glaze already made, just where you'd find the balsamic vinegar in the store. So after I put it just teeny drop of balsamic glaze on it, then I sprinkle feta, throw some dried cranberries in there and some pumpkin seeds, and everybody loves that. It's a favorite of my Thanksgiving Day table for sure. Sheet pan meals are meal prep friendly. They store well, they reheat easily, and making them a perfect make ahead veggie. So if I wanted to go to the store and pick out Brussels sprouts, what am I looking for? So I got mine in a bag today. So I did no selection. I bought the bag. They did all the selection for me, and they're all beautiful, delicious Brussels sprouts. But sometimes they're loose. And if you want to look at them loose, you want to look for ones that are firm, bright green, without those yellowing leaves. And I put this picture here because the bottom of Brussels sprouts are always white. That's not what we're calling yellowing leaves. So it's totally different. All these are green, even though you see the spots of white. That is on the bottom. And size does change taste. So the smaller the sprout, often the sweeter they are and more tender. They are all just as good, and you can't find just little ones. They come in a mix, but the smaller ones are a little bit sweeter. So when you see them, the bottom white part has that woody stem, the one that clings to the stalk. You want to cut that hard part off. And I usually cut the Brussels sprout in half before roasting it. And that gets them all about an even size, and they just cook sooner. And you don't want to put too many, like in this picture, they're all touching each other. You don't want to roast it that way. You want to spread them out a little bit. They don't need a lot of extra space, but if they're put on top of each other, they will steam a little bit. And again, steaming is what causes more of a bitter taste. So you don't want to overcrowd the pan. Lay them out a little bit as you're getting ready to put them in for cooking, for roasting. All right, so today we are making an interesting recipe. Apple, Brussels sprouts, and salami. I've never had salami on a sheet pan. I've got to say that. I don't know what to expect from this. But to me, it's like, this sounds so cool because I have my fruit, I have my vegetable, my potato is my starch, and then I have salami and nuts and cheese as some protein. Like, this is a totally different way of thinking about all the different food groups, but I'm getting them in this vegetable. So that's why I chose it. I thought it was great. This does actually earn a guiding star as well, even with the salami in there. So what is Guiding Stars? Just want to give that quick review. Guiding Stars helps you shop like a nutrition expert, right? It helps you quickly find the foods with the most nutritional value. So if I am in the store and I see the shelf tag, the Guiding Stars are to the right of the price, as you see in here, if it has one. 1 star is good, 2 stars is better, 3 stars is best. And it earns a star by having more vitamins, minerals, fiber, whole grains, omega-3 fatty acids, and less saturated fat, trans fat, added sodium, added sugar, or other additives to limit. So you find Guiding Stars in the store, but you can also find them if I'm shopping online. I have to click on the item and scroll down to the nutrition information to see if it earns a star. But some recipes on our Savory website also are put through the algorithm with Guiding Stars. So I like to choose recipes that do earn a star. So here is what we have for the ingredients for this recipe: Brussels sprouts, red onions, fingerling potatoes, which are those long, skinny potatoes that look like a finger, a package of salami, and it's a whole salami because everything in this sheet pan is in sticks. I worry it would get too crispy if it was already sliced. Some olive oil, an apple, feta cheese, some kale, lemon juice, and walnuts. So we're doing the little side kale, feta, and walnut salad, and then the sheet pan meal. So we're going to preheat our oven to 400 degrees. I'm going to do that right now. Start getting my oven a little bit warm. Trim the ends of the Brussels sprouts and cut them in half. Peel and quarter the onion. And then this says peel the potatoes. I'm not peeling my potatoes. I love potato skin and it's thin enough. It's good. I'm leaving mine on, but that's a choice that you need to make for you. Slice the salami into strips. Then we're going to mix the sprouts, the onions, the potatoes, the salami with some oil, spread it on a parchment lined baking sheet, season with salt and pepper, bake for about 20 minutes in the oven. So I'm going to rush this process a little bit. We're not going to do maybe the full 20 minutes baking. Then while that's in the oven, we're going to cut an unpeeled apple remove the core, cut it into sections, and after about 10 minutes of it baking, we're going to add the apple and cook that. And then while that's cooking, we're going to mix the feta and kale with some oil and lemon juice and top it with walnuts as our little salad to serve alongside our sheet pan Brussels sprouts. All right, before I get cooking, just want to mention to stay connected with us. This week, tomorrow, I have Table Talk, which talking about the power of the potato with the potato farmer, the farmer that supplies our stores. So very interesting. Thursday, please join Charlotte for trending topics on Cheeseburger Day at noon. And then Friday, coffee chat. They're talking about slow cooker season at 9 in the morning. Great ways to stay connected to the team. All right, we are going to start cooking, so I'm going to stop sharing. Yes, thank you. All right, so first, I bought the bag of Brussels sprouts, right? So I didn't have to pick mine out. They're already picked for me, and I love that. And then this is the bottom. You see the bottom that you want to cut off. So I just cut it off and then cut this in half. And sometimes when you do that, you get some spare little leaves. I throw them in. So I already cut mine up. I'm not using the whole bag. I'm making just a lunch size portion. But when there's a spare leaf, to me, they make it like chips, like they get extra crunchy. And I like that in there. So I'm just going to spread those out. And I have here just regular pan, put some parchment paper on it, and then I'm just going to spread all my ingredients evenly on my pan. So fingerling potatoes. This is what the bag looks like. I bought these. They come, there's red ones and there's white ones, and this is why they say they look like fingers. So I wash them. You have to wash them first. I cut them long ways, and then these I cut in quarters, not halves. The little ones I cut in halves, but I want them to get done about the same time, but one was bigger than the other. So then, that's kind of like what my little fingerling potatoes look like. And I'm going to put those in there as well. And then my onion. I had a red onion. I did more than quarters. It said cut it in quarters. I cut it in lots of little pieces. And I'm just going to throw them around so we can get this in the oven. And then last is the salami. And I bought salami and then I cut it into strips like so. And then I'm going to put these on the sheet pan as well. And that is everything mixed together just on my sheet pan. I'm going to put olive oil. I have some in a little container here because it's going to be both for this and for the salad. Just going to drizzle some across it. Bring it closer so you can see. Just getting it a little bit coated. Trying to just put a little drop on each of them. And then a little bit of salt and pepper is all I'm going to put on here. But you can use whatever seasoning that you like, and season it the way that your family enjoys. Little bit of salt. And then I just have my shaker pepper, no grinder there. Salt I always keep in a grinder. All right. So that is my sheet pan veggies, Brussels sprouts, and I'm just gonna pop that in the oven. And that cooks for about 20 minutes. So in the meantime, I'm going to cut my apple. If you have an apple core, which I do, but I'm not going to use it today. That makes it easy. It cuts it into sections. It takes out the core, but I'm just going to cut mine because I may only use half of an apple. So may not use the other half. We'll see. So first I'm just cutting out the core. Right, so that's where the seeds are, my half, get rid of that. And I'm gonna do mine a little bit thinner than an apple core would do. And I'm doing that because I want this to cook quicker. So I'm using my toaster oven instead of my big oven, which I'm leaning on my big oven, because I think it's gonna cook quicker in the toaster oven. And that's what I'm hoping. It's a little bit closer to the heat and maybe a little quicker. So I have some apple slices. I cut them a little bit thin as everything on my sheet pan is about this size. And so I have everything kind of in that long, long, thin looking. Then while that is cooking, we are going to prepare. Well, I'll first want to just go back to olive oil because if you know me, you've been in my classes, you always hear me talk about olive oil. And I just want to say something. So it's not just our brand, it's on lots of brands. First cold extracted or first cold pressed. First cold extracted is newer technology, but it means the same thing as first cold pressed. So that is with extra virgin olive oil, which makes it a little bit higher quality. And what that means is they press the oil, extract that first olive oil. All olive oil is good for your heart. It has the right mix of fats that help our heart health. So all olive oil is good. There's no bad olive oil out there. Whichever one you're using, it's great. But when it says that first cold extracted or first cold press, it's the first press. That has the most nutrition in the olive oil, highest in antioxidants and vitamins and minerals. After you have that olive mash, they want to get more olive oil out of it. So they either heat it or chemically extract it to get more. And in that process, it does lose a little bit of its nutrition. So we're not getting most of our antioxidants and vitamins and minerals from olive oil, right? Because we don't want to drink this by any means. But to me, this is best flavor and just less nutrient dense. And then for the salad, it said kale, but I found a spinach and kale blend. So I'm going to choose that. I like spinach. It's a little bit less tart, I'll say, or bitter than kale is. So I'm using a blend, and we're just going to put some of this in a bowl and top it with feta. So feta is just that crumbled little cheese. That is my feta. We're going to top it with feta and then some walnuts to make a salad. So I'm going to get that ready. In the meantime, I have a bowl. And I'm just going to put a handful of this in there while that cooks. It does take a while to cook. And this is my mixture of spinach and kale. Makes a beautiful salad. It's Nature's Promise Organic is the one that I chose. And I liked it because it was that mixture. And then I'm going to take my feta and just throw some feta on top. And then the walnuts. I'm going to open my bag of walnuts. And I just got the little bag, figuring I just get, oops, I cut it, but it didn't open. Hate that. Didn't cut it deep enough. Just got the little bag because it's just for this that I'm going to use it for. Oops, that was an awful lot of nuts, but I love nuts in my salad. And if you want to add other vegetables, make every recipe your own. And then what we're doing to top this salad is we're topping it with lemon juice and then olive oil. It's just the pairing. When you make a dressing, there needs to be an oil and something acidic. Usually it's vinegar. In this recipe, they're using lemon juice. Same acidic thing. It's the combination that makes it taste good. So now my salad is ready. And now I'm going to pull out this, see where we are, and add my apple to it. It's already starting to brown. You can see that steam coming up. Just pick one up. Yeah, a little char there, which is nice, right? It's hot. I'm using my fingers. Yes, I do that sometimes. And then I'm going to add my apple slices. We have our potato, apple, Brussels sprouts, onion. So it's all kinds of flavors in here. I'm kind of excited to try it. So now that's what it looks like. And we put that in the oven for 10 more minutes. And when that comes out, I'll put that on my plate, put my salad next to it, and we are good. I'm going to now open my Q&A box and see if I have any questions while that cooks. Interesting they use salt in a grinder and pepper already ground. That's exactly the opposite of what you do. Prefer coarser pepper. There's no benefit. It just happens to be what I bought and pulled out. I actually have both of both. I have a regular salt shaker, a salt grinder, and regular. So yes. Is there a way to preserve the remaining half of the apple to eat later without browning? Yes, so I mix a little bit of water with a drop of lemon juice and just coat the apple in it and then wrap it, and it does save without browning. What kind of apple, tart or sweet? So I'm using a sweet. I chose the Honeycrisp apple. Because to me, Brussels sprouts pairs well with something sweet. Even a carrot, I'll call sweet, or a sweet potato. Instead of fingerlings, you could do sweet potato in this recipe. I think it tastes nice with that sweet little pop of flavor. How can you tell if olive oil has gone bad? Oh, I mean, smell. Sometimes it gets clumpy things in it. The texture isn't normal. It does have an expiration date on it. So olive oil, if you see, comes in a dark bottle because light can make it go rancid quicker, which is why you don't put it in the refrigerator that has a light shining on it. I keep mine in a dark closet. You want to block the light from your olive oil, not keep it on the table that has a light shining right above it. Um, it lasts longer. Only buy what you're going to use, right? Don't buy the five-gallon jug if you're not going to use it. I hope that answers your question. But yes, it does get rancid if exposed to light for too long, or if it smells bad or the expiration date on it has passed. Does olive oil really go bad after the expiration date? You know, oil does turn rancid. It depends. I wouldn't keep it too long after the expiration date. I'll just say that. Um, it starts losing quality, even if it doesn't like go bad. Google says oil lasts 18 to 24 months after the expiration date, depending on how it is kept. It has to be kept in a dark place, and yeah, it can. You would know if it's bad, I would think. It either gets piecey things in it or it just has a bad smell. I agree about losing flavor and quality, absolutely. Buy a 1-gallon jug, kept it in the dark, and it lasts me about a year. I mean, usually when you buy olive oil, it has a year time frame on it. Let's see what this one is. This has an expiration date on it. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so this says it expires in October 30th of 2026. So it's over a year away. So it normally has a long expiration time, but it depends how it's held. So that would be my best thought to you is keep it, in a dark, closed place, not open and exposed. All right, let's check on this. Done or not, we're calling it done. How about that? Ooh, it's actually sizzling and looks pretty good. So we have some browning in there. I'm just going to put some in a bowl here. Yeah, it looks nice. Whoops. Of course, I'm making them fly everywhere. Get some Brussels sprouts on top here. And that is what it looks like. Looks good. Looks great. Thank you for the class. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Got lots of vibrant color in there, totally different flavors. You got the potato, lots of different food groups. Like this is an awesome meal and I hope you try it. Thank you so much for joining me and look forward to seeing you tomorrow on Table Talk with me. Have a question there about fruits losing important nutrients when you blend them into smoothies. So you do break up some of the fiber, but their vitamins will remain. Would it brown evenly if you turned it while adding apple? That would be so much better if you turned it. You're supposed to. I didn't do that because I was hanging out with you. But yes, that is a good idea. Thank you so much for joining me. You have a great rest of your day, everybody. Bye.